There are moments in life when happiness should be pure, when joy should wash away every shadow, when new beginnings should bury the past. But sometimes, the first cry of a newborn doesn't bring peace. It brings clarity so sharp it cuts everything that came before. And that is why, insiders say, the moment Barış Baktaş became a father, he picked up his phone and blocked Yağmur. Subscribe, like, comment, because what you are about to hear is the kind of truth people usually take to the grave. They say no man ever becomes the same after holding his child for the first time. And witnesses describe Barış in that hospital room as someone who had just seen life differently, a trembling breath, eyes glistening, hands still uncertain yet already protective, like he was suddenly both fragile and unbreakable. Cameras were not allowed inside, but a nurse whispered that the way he looked at his child was like someone silently promising the universe to be better than he had ever been. Yet just outside that warm cocoon of family and future, there was a name that still lived in his phone, a name tied to late-night whispers, unsent messages, unfinished emotions, a story that never fully bloomed but never truly died either, Yağmur. And within hours of becoming a father, he erased that name from his digital world, a clean-cut, silent, merciless, irreversible. Why? That question now burns through every gossip room, every fan forum, every whispered conversation in the corridors of production studios. Some insist he received a message from her, a simple congratulations, that somehow felt like a ghost returning exactly when it should have stayed buried. Others believe she didn't reach out at all, and that empty silence from her side hurt more than any words could. But the most persistent story, the one circulating among people who claim to know, is that someone close to him, perhaps a relative, perhaps his partner, perhaps the weight of new fatherhood itself, told him with a steady voice, "There is no room for anything unfinished now. You close every door except this one." And so he did. They weren't lovers, the insiders remind, they were something worse, two people who almost happened. A connection without definition, a spark without destination, a temptation disguised as harmless friendship. And in the world where emotions live unspoken, where gestures replace confessions, where timing kills love more often than betrayal ever does, almost is sometimes the most dangerous story of all. Before the baby, blocking her would have looked harsh, dramatic, unnecessary. But now? Now it looked like survival for his new life, his new identity, his new role in this world. And what about her? Imagine Yağmur waking up, maybe sipping her morning coffee, unlocking her phone, scrolling her notifications like any normal day, and suddenly realizing she can't see his updates anymore. Not muted, not ignored, blocked. Cold. Final. The kind of digital death that stings more than words. Did she gasp? Did she bite her lip, holding back emotion? Did she smile sadly, understanding exactly what that action meant? According to someone who claims to be close to her, she didn't rage, didn't call, didn't ask why. She just stared at the screen for a long, still moment, then quietly turned it face down, as if accepting that what never had a name now officially had an ending. And the internet, oh, it did not take long to notice. Fans who track follows and unfollows like astrology signs began buzzing immediately. Did he really block her? Was it her choice? His. Did something happen between them? Memes surfaced. Emotional edits flooded TikTok with captions like "right person," "wrong lifetime," and "sometimes love is letting go before it destroys you." Some fans cheered him. He chose his family. Others mourned the poetic tragedy of it. Imagine being someone's almost and losing them the moment they choose their forever. And then came the darker comments. Was he hiding feelings all this time? Did someone force him? Was there jealousy from his partner? Did a family member say enough? You could almost feel the air thicken around this silent drama. In cafes in Sahangir, people whispered. On sets, assistants exchanged glances. A stylist reportedly said, "I think it wasn't about her. It was about him not trusting his own heart." Another quietly muttered, "New fathers cut ties with temptation." One insider claimed, he didn't do it to hurt her. He did it because seeing her name again would have complicated everything that should stay pure now. And maybe that's the truest explanation. Sometimes you block a person not out of anger, but out of weakness. Because you know that if you leave the door open, even a crack, the past has a cruel way of stepping back in. But love, or whatever fragile emotion sat between them, doesn't disappear simply because someone pressed a button. It lingers like perfume on a scarf, like a song stuck in a memory, like a photograph turned face down in a drawer. They will go on. He into fatherhood, daily responsibility, family warmth. She into work, into self-growth, into quiet resilience that beautiful women learn in the face of heartbreaks no one is allowed to see. Yet, somewhere deep inside, there will always be a tiny echo. What if timing had been kinder? What if life had not interrupted feeling? What if in another version of the world, they got to find out what they could have been? And that is perhaps why this story hurts people so much. Not because there was betrayal. Not because there was cheating. Not because anyone did anyone wrong. But because once again life proved that sometimes you lose someone not because love failed, but because timing did, because life chose for you, not with you. Still, no matter how poetic it looks from the outside, what happened that day in the hospital remains one of the coldest endings imaginable. A new life began. An old one shut down. And in the middle of both stood a man torn between the person he used to be and the man he must become. If you want the next chapter, what insiders say Yağmur whispered to her closest friend afterward, how Barış's partner reacted, whether anyone in his circle pressured him, whether he cried after the decision, subscribe, hit like, and comment below. Did Barış choose maturity or fear? Strength or escape? And most importantly, do you believe love always needs to be acted on, or sometimes the bravest love is the one you walk away from? Tell me what you think, because this story is far from over.